time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me, like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Used to lose, built to win, applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And man, we are close to we basically in the thick of it, man. Last 3 weeks before championship week. This is week 12. We got week 12 action. You know, I went over the preview Tuesday. I went 2-1 Tuesday night. Ball stayed up 14, could not close the deal, but we'll talk about that on Sunday or Monday. Today, we're here to preview Wednesday through Friday. Before I do that, I'd like to ask you to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps the network. It helps my channel, CTC, by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. We also got the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, Dave every Tuesday and Friday, 7 to 8:30, I believe. Unfazed, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, featuring Joe and AJ. BWT, Baseball with Teddy, who should be going live tonight at 10 o'clock to recap the Yankees season, spectacular season. I know they came up short, but nonetheless, spectacular season by the Yankees. We got Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sports. Make sure you get out a look. Fantasy football with Coach Coombs went live this morning. Fantasy football, start, sit, stuff like that. Got Coach there. RBO, Road Ballers Only. NBA starts in about 40, 50 minutes. His Magic starting about 40, 50 minutes. Play tie in the Pacers, but all your NBA content through there. Kings Talk. Kings talk with Joe Jordan. Kings play tonight. They play the Suns. Post-game, Sacramento Kings through Joe. We have Indie Red Corner. They went live Sunday, boxing show, all your boxing news through there, no exhibitions. Am I missing somebody? I think I got everybody. Let me look right here real quick. I believe I got everybody. Yeah, and that's all the shows we have to mention. That's all the shows we have on the network. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. Helps the channels. If you like what you're listening to, stick with them. So we're just going to get right into these previews. We got 3 games tonight, 3 matching games, all at 7 o'clock. The first one being Kent State at Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio comes into this game as 30.5-point favorites against Kent State, who got shut out last week against Ohio. Kent State, prior to that game, was scoring around 20, 21 points a game. But Ohio, the Bobcats, shut them out completely. This game 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Now, Kent State, they got to let last week go. They lost in a shutout fashion, 41-0. They got to let it go. Let it go. Move on. They had to take care of the football. They were turning the ball over like crazy. They got to force turnovers. Brett Gabbert is prone to throwing some. So you just got to force some turnovers from Miami of Ohio. You got to stop the run. Keon Mosey and the guys, you got to stop the run. And you got to pressure Brett Gabbert. You got to put some pressure on Brett Gabbert. Now, for your Miami of Ohio, you just want to score, and put that defense back out there and suffocate Kent State's offense. You got to run Keon Mosey. You got to pressure roll Tomlinson, the freshman who started last week in place of Tommy Otowalski. Contain Tomlinson's legs because he can't run, and you got to hit on them deep plays. Last week against Ball State, those big plays of Javon Tracy and Reggie Virgil, those were big plays that helped them edge out the win against Ball State last Tuesday. And y'all know, my winner for this game, that's why I sped through this one, Miami of Ohio, man. Kent State 0-9. They're reeling. They're just trying to find something for next year to build upon, being young, and that's why they're going with Tomlinson. Miami of Ohio, they got bigger fish to fry. They're trying to find their way into play for the MAC championship. So they're trying to defend their title that they won last year. So I think they run through Kent State and move on to, I don't know whoever they play next week, but I think they run through Kent State. Next, we got a game that should be more competitive. Akron at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois coming off a big win against Western Michigan, 28-14. Akron, I believe, had a bye last week, so big game for them this week. Well, not big game. Akron, I think they're 2-8, 2-9. Let me find out. I think they only got 2 wins on the year. Ooh, excuse me. And I do have to do poll talk, but I'll save it for the end. I wanted to do these first since I got 40 minutes to kick off, so I wanted to knock this out real quick. Akron is currently 2-7. Excuse me, 2-7, 9 games, 2-7. Cool. All right, so Akron, they got to stop the run. Now, I was Googling, trying to do my Googles. I see that Ontario Brown is questionable. I tried to see if I can find something more concrete. All I could find that he was questionable for the day. Like last week, if y'all remember, he got tackled and fumbled, and he was on the sideline with a walking boot. That was last Tuesday. I didn't see nothing beside questionable, so they're gonna have to stop the run, whether it's Ontario Brown or Telly Johnson, who had an amazing game himself last week. Ben Finley, the NC State transfer, he's gonna have to protect the ball. He has 9 interceptions on the year, 12 touchdowns. They got to score touchdowns. They have 20 touchdowns in total this year, 9 field goals. That's just in total. That's not. I don't believe that's in the red zone. I think that's just period. But they are 11th in the red zone. Get off the field on third down. They are 10th in the MAC in third down percentage defense, giving up 44% of third downs, and they don't. They gotta not allow touchdowns. Teams when they go to the red zone against Akron, they are 33-34, which is last in the MAC. And for NIU, they got to run the ball. Just run the ball, take care of it, run the ball, and they've been getting big plays with it last week. I think they'll get big plays with it this week. Force turnovers because forcing extra possessions, that helped them in the Western Michigan game. They got 2 picks back-to-back, scored on those, and this wasn't a turnover, but they got a big kickoff return against Western Michigan, which helped them as well. They got to score and score some more because Akron is really bad in scoring in the MAC. They're like bottom to second to last, so if they score, they'll pro well there. Force third and longs because not only is Akron, I believe, second to last in third down percentage on offense, they're not a good passing team. So you want to put them in third and longs, and you got to get the ball to Cam Thompson, your guy on the outside as well. But my winner is NIU. NIU is a really good team, really good defense. They're going to hit explosive plays. They're going to force some turnovers. They're going to put you in situations where you got to be uncomfortable. And I think NIU will just at home hit those momentum swinging plays and win the game against Akron. Next, we have Eastern Michigan at Ohio, which this is the game I would keep my eye on as a college football fan. Eastern Michigan and Ohio. Now they're in Ohio. This game is 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Ohio, they are 11.5-point favorites coming into this one. Now, Eastern Michigan got to contain Parker Navarro's legs. Parker Navarro is a guy who can run the football at quarterback, so you got to watch out for that. Run Delbert Mims, the running back who's leading them in rushing. They got to stop Anthony Tyus, the running back for Ohio. He's a really good back. He's explosive. He breaks tackles. He's a really good back for the Ohio Bobcats. Win the turnover battle, and they got to score touchdowns in the red zone. They cannot settle for field goals. Ohio has a pretty good defense, so Eastern Michigan got to find ways to score touchdowns when they make red zone trips. For Ohio, Parker Navarro has to protect the football. He had 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Now, last week, I don't think he turned the ball over last week, but he just got to protect the ball against a better team. He's not playing Kent State this week. Run Anthony Tyus, like I said earlier, really good back for the Ohio Bobcats. Get the ball to Coleman Owen. Coleman Owen is a really underrated player, in my opinion, for Ohio. He reminds me of Will Stiglitz. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. It's Will Stiglitz. Last year, that was my guy for Ohio, the wide receiver, slot guy. He was anytime third down, you got to get him the ball. He'll make a play for you, Will Stiglitz. That's who he reminds me of this year. And he had that punt return last week against Kent State that was pretty good. So get the ball to Coleman Owen. Force field goals in the red zone, allow 26. They allowed in 26 trips, they only allowed 9 field goals. I believe they haven't allowed 20 touchdowns, obviously, in 26 trips, 26, 9, 15. So I believe they only allow like 14 or something like that, touchdowns in the red zone. And you got to run Parker Navarro. Give that defense that extra element to worry about at quarterback. My winner, Ohio. I think Ohio's defense is really good. You mix that with a really good offense. They have the nice punch with Anthony Tyus that Parker Navarro can beat you throwing or running. I think that Ohio should win this ball game. And I'm so mad I can't remember my boy Stiglitz. I think it was Will Stiglitz. I'm so mad I can't remember his name because that was my guy for Ohio. If y'all remember, I called third downs his down. he was so good. I figured he wouldn't get a league shot, but nonetheless, he was like that, and that's not his name. Oh my God. Hold on, let me find something real quick. Ohio football 2023, 2024. I'm so mad I can't remember his name, bro. It's making me so mad. It's Will. I think it's not Will Stiglitz. I just Googled it and it didn't pop up. It was Sam Wigglitz. I think it was Sam Wigglitz. That was his name. Let me look for Sam Wigglitz. I'm pretty sure that was his name. I think I just mixed it up. Yep, it was Sam Wigglitz. That was my guy for Ohio. All right, next we gotta move on. Thursday was just one game. I know most eyes aren't going to be on this game. My eyes ain't going to be. It's going to be on the game because it's going to be on my phone. But on my TV, I got Commanders, Eagles. I won't lie to y'all. But this game will be on my phone. East Carolina at Tulsa. East Carolina is coming off of a blowout win last week. Actually, funny enough, last Thursday against FAU. Tulsa, I believe they lost their last game. But nonetheless, East Carolina is now 2-0 since making their head coaching change. Caden Hauser has came in for East Carolina, Michigan State transfer. Got my shirt on. Got to represent my boys. But he's been coming in and he's been making life pretty much very good for East Carolina. East Carolina, as I forgot to turn the page. East Carolina got to run Rodney Harris, running back. He's been one of the constants of this East Carolina football team. Got to run him. Get the ball to Chase Sewell and Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith had a big game last week for East Carolina. Chase Sewell is also the leading receiver. Caden Hauser just continue to play great. He had 5 touchdowns through the air last week and a rushing touchdowns, so 6 total touchdowns for East Carolina Pirates last week against FAU. This guy continued to stellar play. I believe he's currently at 10 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, which is a complete 180 from the starting quarterback, Garcia, who started the year this year. Like I said, he's been heaven sent for East Carolina. Get the ball. No, they got a key in, on Camden Benjamin, Tulsa's leading receiver, their playmaker, and they got to hit on the big plays because last week against FAU, that's what they really lived on. Big plays, whether it was a big run by Hauser, big catch by Smith. Rodney Harris had a couple big runs. They just hit on big plays, and it allowed a blowout of FAU. Now, Tulsa, you got to turn Caden Hauser over. Caden Hauser hasn't really been turning the ball over like crazy this year. Got to make them uncomfortable, get him to turn the ball over. Get the ball to Camden Benjamin. They got to eliminate the big plays, obviously, because, again, that's what ECU was able to hit last week. Have to get stops because Tulsa, they're pretty sufficient on offense. Defensively, they're pretty lackluster, and they're going to have to get stops. They're going to have to try as they might to get stops against this ECU team. And they're going to have to stop Rodney Harris. But my winner in this is ECU. ECU, to me, has looked completely different since they had coaching change. They've been really good. And I don't think that Tulsa is going to be the team that changes this look that ECU has had. I think Tulsa might give them a little struggle early, but ECU figures it out. I think ECU blows them out later as the game goes on. But give me ECU to win this game. And now we move on to Friday night. We got 4 games again Friday night. And we start with Wyoming at Colorado State. 8 o'clock on CBSN. Colorado State comes into this game as 9.5-point favorites at home against Wyoming. Wyoming, they lost their legendary head coach last year. That was his last year. He retired. Peasley is gone. I think Titus, the running back, was gone. So Wyoming is overcoming a huge overhaul. They're overhauling a bunch at the University of Wyoming. But they have to protect the football. They have not been doing a great job protecting that football through the air at all. They got to pressure Braden Fowler and Nicosi. They got to put some pressure on him. Run Sam Scott. Wyoming is still a running team. Let's not forget that. Wyoming wants to run the ball. They're not doing a really good job passing the ball at all this year. It's actually looking really bad. They're a running football team first. They have to find a passing game. Well, there goes my next point. They got to stay ahead of the chains because when you can't pass the ball, you got to stay ahead of the chains to keep the chains moving. You don't want to be behind the chains. You don't want to be off schedule. Now, if for Colorado State, just air it out. Let's air it out. Let's throw the ball around the yard. That's what Colorado State wants to do with Nicosi. They want to throw the ball. Now, recently they haven't, but that's what they wanted to do. Got to run Avery Morrow, the leading rusher for the Colorado State Rams. Stop the run because that's what Wyoming want to do. Put Wyoming in 3rd and longs and just score the ball. If they score the ball, make Wyoming have to keep pace. I don't see Wyoming being able to keep pace. And my winner on this one is going to be Colorado State. I think Colorado State wins at home due to the insufficient passing game of Wyoming. Due to Colorado State being able to have that dimensional, they're not one-dimensional. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. Wyoming is more so one-dimensional. You start out to stop the run, make them have to beat you. It's going to be a long day for Wyoming. So give me Colorado State to win that one. And we move on to one of the games that I love. I love this matchup, man. North Texas at UTSA. I remember Frank Harris and the boys going against North Texas. Those being big games. I believe 1 year, was it a title? No, Western Kentucky, I think. It might have been a title game 1 year. It might have been a Conference USA title game 1 year or American Conference game 1 year. I can't remember. But I know these games right here are normally fun to watch. North Texas at UTSA. North Texas coming to this one as 1.5-point road favorites. Now, for North Texas, they got Chandler Morris from TCU. He's been doing an amazing job passing the ball, running the ball. You got to use your legs if you Chandler Morris. Pressure on McCown. This is his first year actually as a true starter. He started some games last year while Frank Harris was going through his injuries. Got to pressure on McCown. Get the ball to DT Sheffield, your most explosive playmaker on the North Texas team. Force UTSA to keep pace, and Morris has to protect the football. Although he's been having an amazing year on the ground and through the air, he has 26 touchdowns. It's 10 interceptions. And if I could get on Haynes King for his last year having 27 touchdowns to 16 interceptions, then I could tell Chandler Morris as well. Got to cut down on the turnovers. 10 interceptions is a lot. For UTSA, you got to force them turnovers. Like I said, you got 10 picks. You got to make it one of them games where you can force them. Contain Chandler Morris' legs. Run Robert Henry, man. Robert Henry has emerged as the lead back for UTSA. You got to run Robert Henry, contain DT Sheffield, and you got to contain this high-octane offense who they're going to put up points against no matter who they play against. So you got to find a way to contain it. But my winner, I've been used to picking UTSA in the past, going with North Texas this week. North Texas this week, I'm going with them to beat UTSA. Why? Like I just said, they have a high-power offense that's going to score against whoever. They played Tulane. They lost, but they were able to score. They were able to put up 30-some points against Tulane. Tulane, one of the best teams in the American Conference. And they were able to not get what they wanted, obviously, but they were able to give Tulane some problems. I think they give this UTSA team problems. I think UTSA is not having the year that they would want to have. They lost a lot. They lost Frank. They lost Trey Moore to Texas. They lost receivers. Years prior, they lost Zakari Franklin and Cephas and guys like that. But this UTSA team isn't the same high-powered offense that I'm used to. They're more so relying on the defense. Even with that, they lost Cam Alexander, a cornerback. He's gone. So I'm going with North Texas in this one to win the game. Next one we got UCLA at Washington. UCLA is coming in hot. UCLA has won the last 3 games, just beating Wyoming on last Friday night. I believe. Did I say Wyoming? I meant to say Iowa. They beat Iowa last Friday night, I believe, at UCLA. I believe they were in UCLA in the Rose Bowl when they won. Washington kind of reeling 5-5, 1 game away from bowl eligibility. Now, I believe Washington had higher expectations other than just barely making a bowl. I'm not saying they had playoff aspirations because I didn't see that, but I did see possibly a higher bowl than a week 1 bowl. Not saying New Year's 6. I got to check my preview. I don't remember how many wins I had them winning. Didn't think it'd be the same because they lost DeBoer and comes Brett Brennan, but they're just trying to make a bowl game. Plain and simple. 5-5, just need 1 win to make it. They come into this one as 4.5-point home favorites. But UCLA, they got to run TJ Harden, man. That was key, very key in the win against Iowa. The ability to run the football, force turnovers. That was also key in the win against Iowa. They threw their own turnovers. Garbers gave the ball away, but they were able to get 2 picks and a fumble themselves against the Iowa Hawkeyes, which kept them in the game. Pressure Will Rogers. Will Rogers under pressure does not look the same, in my opinion. He's a very accurate guy when you give him time in the pocket. Put pressure on him. It's not exactly the same for that guy. Get the ball to Logan Lawyer. Logan Lawyer, to me, is possibly their best receiver. Now, he's not leading the yards. Neither is Jermichael Studevant, but I think he might be the best receiver on this team. Contain Jonah Coleman, the running back for Washington. Contain him. Don't let him bust those big runs, which they did a really good job last week against Caleb Johnson, too. Caleb Johnson, he's going to get his. He is. But can you contain him and not allow him to get his as much as you get yours? And that's what UCLA did a really good job in last week. Washington, protect the football. Got to protect the football for you, Will Rogers. Because again, 2 picks and a fumble kept UCLA in the game last week. Stop TJ Harden. Make Ethan Garbers have to beat you. 2 points in 1. I just said it together. Those are 2 of my points. Just said them together. Stop the run. Make Ethan Garbers have to beat you. Run Jonah Coleman. And don't forget about your playmakers, Denzel Boston and Giles Jackson, man. 2 explosive guys. Denzel Boston, more of a deep threat. Giles Jackson, the guy you want to get the ball in space to, but can't forget about those guys. And I think Washington makes this week bowl eligibility week. UCLA coming off a high, 3 straight wins. I understand that. But I don't think that they faced an offense as dimensional as this one. Nebraska, pretty good team, freshman quarterback. He's going to face his lumps. Iowa, mainly a running team. Can Iowa pass the ball? Yes. But they're mainly a running team. And then Rutgers, I don't know what happened to Rutgers, man. I don't know what happened in that Rutgers game. They just lost. I watched it. I still can't tell you why UCLA beat Rutgers. You know, Calvin, I believe he had a pretty good game in that game. But those are 3 bottoming teams. Other than Iowa. Iowa's not a bottoming team. But Nebraska and Rutgers, more so a bottoming team. Washington, I think Washington's going to give them fits. I think Washington, with their ability to pass. Now, I do think UCLA can put pressure on Rodgers, but with their ability to run the ball with Jonah Coleman, I think it might not allow those guys to pin their ears back as much against Will Rogers. Will Rogers find some guys to make plays. And Washington being at home, I think that's a big help. UCLA, I think they're going to try to run TJ Harden. I think Washington's going to game plan for that to specifically not happen and make Ethan Garbers have to beat them. So I'm rolling with Washington in this one. Yeah, Dave, shout out my boy Dave. He said, yup, don't forget about your playmakers. Exactly. Can't forget about those guys. And then I never even put Friday night previews. But it is what it is. And lastly, the last game I got to preview before we get into the polls, the College Football Committee has dropped last night in between the Champions Classic, which I'm wearing my shirt, but we lost. Hunter Dickinson, he gave us fits. I'll talk about it at the end. Matter of fact, I'll make a joint about it, and we'll talk about it at the end. But we got to talk about Houston at Arizona. Houston is on the road taking on Arizona, which surprisingly Arizona is a 1.5 point home favorite. I think they're favorites because they're at home against them. But Houston, they got to stop T-Mac, man. It's Tory McMillan. He's the only consistent in this receiving corps. I'm disappointed in Montana, Luminous Craig. I'm disappointed in him. Tory McMillan, man, he has like 1,000 yards. I think the next receiver behind him is like either at 200 or barely below 200. T-Mac is the only constant. He's done nothing but raise his draft stock this year. Stop him. Pressure Noah Fafita. You got to put some pressure on the young guy. Make him try to find somebody other than T-Mac because you know he's looking for T-Mac. Make him find somebody other than him. Zion Chris, he got to protect the football. Houston's not really an explosive offense. Exactly. But we'll talk about that. I'm gonna talk about that. Appreciate you, Blurpy. Appreciate you, my guy, for tuning in. I appreciate you, man. Hopefully that you're entertained. You can look at the preview, probably watch the game and see some things that I'm talking about in the game. Hopefully. But yeah, Hunter Dickinson, man, he old as a mud. It definitely is. But yeah. They got to put some – Zion Chris has to protect the ball. They got to take advantage of a bad defense. I remember early in the year watching Arizona and New Mexico and thinking – I think I even said this in the chats. Not a member of the chats. Become a member of the R2L network. Get to join the chats. I think I said this Arizona defense is going to cost them in this year. I'm pretty sure I said that in the chat. And that's what it's been, man. This Arizona defense is bad. They do have a couple playmakers in Maldonado and Jacob Manu, but overall, this defense is bad. And it's going to cost them. And Houston has to take advantage of this bad defense. And Arizona, and they got to get the ball to Joseph Manjack. Joseph Manjack, tough, hard-nosed football player outside of the receiver position. Got to get him the ball. Now, if you're Arizona, got to get the ball to T-Mac. Obviously, he's your only consistent at that wide receiver spot. You got to get him the ball. Make Zion Chris push the ball down the field. Make him complete passes downfield. Make him beat you using his arm. We know Zion Chris, he can run the football. He can complete them short throws. Make him push the ball down the field. Run Quali Conley, hit on splash plays. Arizona has to find a way to hit on splash plays other than T-Mac. They got to find a way to do that. And they got another receiver has to step up, which really hasn't happened all year. And my winner for this one, I'm rolling with Houston. Since Zion Chris has played for Houston and taking over for Donovan Smith, which, side note, I told y'all in my preview, Donovan Smith isn't it. I was never sold on Donovan Smith. Since he's taken over, however, they've upset Kansas State. They've beaten TCU. Willie Fritz has got this team looking a lot better than when it started the season off with Donovan Smith. Again, Arizona defense is bad. I know I've been repeating it, but that's how bad that defense is. So I'm rolling with Houston to win this one. They take advantage of a bad defense. They're able to put up points, and they make somebody other than T-Mac beat them on the for Arizona. And that's all I got for my previews. I got a message. Crazy, he's still in school. Yeah, he's in school because of the COVID year. 3 years at Michigan, I think 2 years at Kansas. He had the COVID year. I think he came in around that time, so he got that extra year. But this is for sure his final year. I was saying it in the college basketball chat. He should have left his freshman year, but he stayed around thinking he could get a ring at Michigan, and it backfired. So it backfired to the point where they blew a lead against Vanderbilt in the NIT, I believe, in the second round. So, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. We got to talk about these polls. I got to go back to my, what's it called? It's, oh, no, banners. That's past it. We got to talk about these polls, man. We got to talk about the polls, the updated top 25 set by your college football committee. And like I said in the chat, man, they're going to find a way for Georgia to hang around. And what do you know? They stayed at 12. I'm not even surprised. But this is what I will say. Georgia being at 12 right now does not mean they're in the playoffs. If the season were to end today, that means Georgia's out. But they're hanging around. They're waiting. They're waiting in the wings for a top 11 team to slip up. Now, you might be saying, Carl, how is Georgia not in? They're 12. 12 teams go. Boise State is at 13. Boise State will be the group of 5 representative to take that 12th spot, which means Georgia's out, and the other 11 teams will be in because the 4 champions will be in. Then you would do the seeding. Georgia will be out, just missing it. They'll be the first team out. But let's talk about it in general. So number 1, obviously you got your Oregon Ducks, undefeated, 10-0. Second, we have Ohio State at 8-1, 1 loss being to Oregon Ducks. Third, we have the Texas Longhorns. Their only loss being to the Georgia Bulldogs. Fourth, Penn State. Their only loss being Ohio State. Fifth, Indiana. Now, in the chat, I said Indiana would be top 5, but I want them to be top 3, but they won't be top 3. So, because I know the committee wouldn't do it, but I think I would love to see them top 3. I said this: if you replace the Indiana Hoosiers, right? Take Indiana Hoosiers off their 10-0 roster, 10-0 record so far, and you slap Penn State on that, you slap Ohio State on that, you even slap Michigan on that. They're a top 2 team. They're a top 3 team. It's the name why Indiana is not number 5. Not top 3. It's because of the name. Shout out AJ. It's the name, bro. It's because Indiana does not have that stigma. They don't have that aura. This has never been done in Indiana history. Indiana has never been 10-0 ever. So the fact they've never done it, they're not going to get that respect. Now, I get it. You might say, Carl, they don't have the resume wins. Their best win is what? What's their best one? Michigan? Maybe. But let that be Ohio State. Let that be Penn State, excuse me, because Ohio State, Michigan don't play to the end of the year. Let that be Penn State 10-0, their best one against Michigan. And they beat everybody else by 14 plus. They number 3 at the least. Undefeated, they're number 3 at the least. But I get it. Committee is Indiana. They want to see them beat a better opponent. And what do you know? Not this week, but next week, Indiana, Ohio State. So that'll be a real test right there. So I'm excited for Ohio State finishes the year against. They got to play Indiana. I think they play this week. Or they play like Northwestern or something like that. No. I think they play like Purdue or Northwestern, something like that. And then they play Indiana, and then they play Michigan. So we're going to find out about Ohio State. Let me check some of these comments out real quick. For the polls, do you think Indiana is going to get screwed in the end? I feel IU going to get blown out to OSU, but IU should still get an 11-1. Good question. No, I don't think they get screwed. Now, in your scenario, I think they drop them. If they lose by a blowout to Ohio State, they get dropped severely because it's a blowout. Now, if they play Ohio State, it's a close game, they lose off a field goal, they lose off by a touchdown, it's a really good game. You can tell like Indiana should be. They fought in the game. I don't think they get dropped out the playoffs. They drop a little, but don't drop out the playoffs. But if they get blown out, they might be like, well, they didn't play nobody for real. That they're fraudulent 10-0. They went against a really good team and got blown out. They might drop. That's what it is. The Ohio State plays produced. Thanks, Dave. But if they play a close game, they just lose. They're not going to drop out the top 11, top 12. But they need to win. Let's just end all doubt. Let's beat Ohio State. Let's win. They beat Ohio State. They're in the Big Ten championship. Because Oregon, let's see who Oregon plays. I don't think they play nobody. They play Wisconsin, and then they play Washington. They'll finish the season 12-0 in my opinion. I had them finishing the season 12-0 in the preseason. I think they finished 12-0. I think they finished 12-0. Indiana would play Ohio State and then Purdue. I don't see Indiana losing Purdue. So if they beat Ohio State, it'll be two 12-0 teams going at it in the Big Ten championship. Now, Ohio State, like I said, they still got Michigan. As much as I think they should absolutely destroy Michigan, it's Michigan, it's Ryan Day. Don't know. But no, they don't get screwed. I don't think they get screwed unless, like you said, they get blown out. Dave says facts. I'm assuming he's talking about me and the Indiana thing. Appreciate that. Dave said it's the name. That's facts. He says the fact that they have been dominating should be a reason why they should be third. Look, man, at least 3. I think at the very least 3, man. The fact that every game except last week against Michigan, they won by 14 or more, that should be telling. Now, did they only beat Michigan by 5? Yes. They played at the Big House. For some reason, Michigan keep getting big games at the Big House. I don't understand it. I don't get it. They keep playing big opponents at the Big House. It's just, for some reason, somebody let me know. But, yeah. He said Ohio State just played Purdue. Okay, let me see who Ohio State plays next. They play Northwestern. I was right. They play Northwestern, then they play Indiana and Michigan. Okay, cool. He said, yeah, that would mean IU and Oregon have the tiebreaker over Ohio State. Exactly. Facts. He says Ohio State plays Northwestern at 12 p.m. on Saturday. Yup. He says, so if they get blown out and finish the season 11-1, you don't think they make it? It's tough. It's tough to read the committee's mind. It is. I think that we'll try to use that against Indiana. I really do. I really do think they'll use it against Indiana because they'll look at the schedule and be like, look, Michigan, they'll even defraud Michigan for this. They'll be like, look, Michigan's fraudulent this year. Sharon Moore, he's not done a good job. They can't pass the ball. They haven't found a quarterback all year. They'll defraud Michigan possibly to defraud Indiana. So it's tough to read the committee. It really depends on what other things happens. Other things have to kind of go in Indiana's favor, but I think they will try to use that as an excuse to get Indiana up out of there because it's the name. Point blank period. I think Kirk Cignetti and the boys, they deserve it. Cignetti going 10-0 no matter what. Indiana has never done this. They deserve a chance to play in the playoffs. I wholeheartedly believe Indiana deserves a chance, but it's the committee, and it's kind of hard to tell what the committee's going to do. But I 100% believe that they deserve a chance. I agree. They do deserve it. He says if they make it, they will be 11 for 12. In a blowout situation, yeah, I think they'll be like, well, I don't know how that works for the group of 5. I don't know if the group of 5 is automatically the 12th seed. So I think they'll be like a 10 for 11. I think the group of 5 champ is automatically a 12th seed. He says, especially because it's 12 teams now. Yeah, I definitely agree. With a 2-loss Georgia get in over them, if push come to shove, yeah, you gotta understand, man. The committee loves the SEC. Most of college football loves the SEC. They'll do anything to make it SEC based. If they could put 10 teams, let me scratch that. If they could do 7 SEC teams and then the group and the Power 4 champs and the group of 5 champ, they would do it. And just say the SEC is just better than all your conferences. Y'all don't deserve it. They would do that. The committee loves the SEC. Do I agree with that? No. I think that this Georgia team led by Carson Beck is so fraudulent. But Carson Beck is fraudulent. Every big game Carson Beck has played in, he's played terrible. But the committee, man, they love the SEC, and Georgia is a SEC powerhouse. So I think they will. I think they will. If it came neck and neck between a 2-loss Georgia team and a 1-loss blown out Indiana team, they'll take the Georgia team. They would. I don't agree. I definitely don't agree, but I think they would. Dave said, yes, Georgia would. Yeah, I hate it, but I do think so. It's the SEC, facts. He said, I'm not saying UJ isn't better, but IU is deserving. I mean, shoot. It's a big game. I think if Georgia played Indiana, Georgia will win because of the trenches. I don't know if Indiana can handle the trenches that Georgia has on that D-line. But, I mean, Indiana's a team that can turn the ball over. And Carson Beck is a player in big games that will turn the ball over. So, Indiana has a shot. Carson Beck's at least giving you 2-3 turnovers in every big game. So Indiana has a shot to beat Georgia. It's just them trenches. That's my only concern if Indiana were to play Georgia is the trenches. And he says Beck sucks. Absolutely. Yeah, he's a fraudulent guy, man. He's very fraudulent. Where was I? Number 6, BYU. Love it. I love the fact that BYU is 6-9-0. I love it, man. They're a really good team, well coached. They escaped one against Utah, but that's a rivalry. That's not in Provo. Utah rivalry, BYU, Utah. That's a tough game. Tennessee at 7. Not mad at it. One loss SEC team. Heard that Nico Iamaleava might be out for the game against Georgia. I'll talk about that more on Friday. Notre Dame at 8. Y'all know I feel like Notre Dame is so overrated. I get it. Yes, they've been playing a lot better since they beat Northern Illinois. Who have they beat? Honestly, who have they beat? Let's look at the schedule. Since Northern Illinois, they beat Purdue. Won one game. Beat Miami of Ohio. They are what? They're currently, I believe, 5-4. They're not even a top MAC team at the moment. Now, they beat Louisville. That's a good win. I can't discredit the Louisville win. Very good win against Louisville. Stanford, not a good team. Georgia Tech didn't have Haynes King. Navy, that's a good win. Took them 5 turnovers to get the W. They forced 5 turnovers, so I give them that one. Florida State won one game all year. Virginia, that's who they play next. Virginia's the middle of the pack ACC team, man. I love Virginia. Y'all know I love Anthony Calandria, middle tier ACC team. And then Army. Army is the game. If they beat Army, I will stop saying Notre Dame is overrated. If they blow out Army, I'll concede. I will concede on Notre Dame. That's the game that will make me concede. But so far with the schedule, I'm not convinced. All right. Number 9, Miami. And it's funny, like you said, I was getting on that. Number 9. Blurpy says, is Miami fraudulent? I know you get to them next. This is what I will say. That offense is not fraudulent. No. That defense is terrible. Cam Ward has to be Superman every game for them to win. They'll make the playoff. They should win the ACC. It should be Miami versus SMU for the ACC championship. I do have Miami being able to win that game, just how good that offense is. But I didn't have Miami going far in the playoff anyway. I think I had them losing first round to Ole Miss. No, that was Penn State. I didn't have Miami going far. I don't think Miami is a team that they had natty expirations. I think they had expectations to win the ACC, which I can agree with that. But I don't think they came into this year thinking they should win a natty. Not with that defense anyway. I don't know if I would say overrated, because here's the thing. People correctly say that defense is terrible, which it is. It's absolutely horrible. But Cam Ward is so nice, man. That offense is so nice. That's why they are where they are. 9-1. They're going to finish the season 11-1. They better not lose to Syracuse. I'm not even looking at their Wake Forest game. They lose to Wake Forest, then, hey, season's over. This is what I'll say, though, about the Georgia Tech game. A lot of us were not the people that were talking about the game called that game a trap game, including myself. I said that was a potential trap game because, 1, Georgia Tech runs the ball so well. 2, Haynes King was coming back. He's been gone for a minute due to the shoulder injury. Now, granted, he wasn't 100%. Couldn't really throw the ball. But that added element of Haynes King being able to run the ball and being explosive, I knew that would be a problem, mixed in with the fact that defense is terrible. Also, Georgia Tech, for some reason, they just play Miami well. If you remember last year, the team that beat Miami due to Miami not taking a knee was Georgia Tech. So I had that game as a potential trap game. So I wasn't surprised that Georgia Tech was able to pull that one out. So I don't think they're overrated. I think they're a really good team, but I don't think they had national championship expectations coming into the year. And he said, I was at the Virginia Tech game in Miami this year, and I was so pissed. I feel you. Are you a Miami fan? Who's your team, Blurpy? Write it in the comments. Who's your team? 10, Alabama. Y'all already know I said it, bro. Alabama, they're going to find a way to get Alabama in. Now, granted, Alabama 2 lost. Well, kind of hard to defend the Vandy loss. Virginia Tech alum. Oh, shout out V-Tech. Shout out, who's my guy, V-Tech? Shout out Eddie Royal. Shout out Tyrod Taylor. Shout out. I like Virginia Tech. I ain't got no issues. One of my guys, well, not one of my guys. Somebody from my high school went to Virginia Tech, so I didn't really know the guy. He played corner. Shout out V-Tech. I ain't got no issues with V-Tech. I do think Kyron Jones is absolutely overrated. You might disagree with me. I think Kyron Jones, I said it coming into the year, he's a good quarterback. They try to say he's a top quarterback. No, he's overrated. That's the guy I think is overrated. But shout out V-Tech. I ain't got no issues with them. And I also think that y'all get away from Basho too in so much. It absolutely pisses me off watching Virginia Tech games, knowing that y'all got a guy that talented in the backfield. Y'all have Basho Tootin who's so talented, and I feel like y'all so quick to go away from him or don't give him traditional runs, and it makes me mad as just a fan of the game. But 11, Ole Miss. My boy Jay Dart gets a huge win against Georgia. They're now currently, I believe, 10-2 with games against Florida and Mississippi State. They went out there in the playoff. I think Ole Miss do deserve it. They had a slip up against LSU. Should have won that game. Didn't. Other than that, they lost to Kentucky. They shouldn't have lost that one either. But Ole Miss is one of the top offenses in the country as well. I think Ole Miss is a dangerous team that can make the playoff. Next, we have accidentally clicked away from the rankings. 12, Georgia. Like I said earlier, they're going to keep Georgia around. 13, Boise State, which Boise State dropped in a win, I guess, because they didn't beat Nevada by enough points. But y'all know me, man. I've been rooting for Nevada all year. They've been taking L's. They're still at the bottom of the Mountain West, but, man, they fight. They're a scrappy group. They fight. Jency had a video game, but didn't win by enough points, so they dropped by a point. SMU at 14, they dropped. SMU, they're top of the ACC right now, so right now they'll be the ACC champ if the season were to end today. Texas A&M at 15. Yes, they lost to South Carolina. They didn't have Connor Wegman. They started Marcel Reed. I said Marcel Reed. Yeah, that is his name, Marcel Reed. They started Marcel Reed. Didn't look hot against us. Yeah, this is the college football playoff ranking, Dave. Y'all didn't fall out the top 10. I told Ty. Kansas State at 16. Not mad at that. They did get upset by Houston. I thought they would actually drop further than 19 the week prior. They move up 3. Colorado at 17. I feel like Colorado should be in front of Kansas State, but then you can argue that Kansas State did beat them. So that argument is there. But Colorado right there for the Big 12 championship. Who would have thought it? I had them 7-5. Big win against Texas Tech. At 18, Washington State. Good for them. They're not in the conference, so they're going to have to get in via at-large bid, and they're having a really great year led by John Mater at quarterback. 19, Louisville, slowly climbing up. Now, they need some work. They need some work to have a chance. They play to end the year. They play Louisville. Louisville play Stanford. Should be a win. Pitt game is a big game coming up on the 23rd, and Kentucky. That's also a big game. They have to go. They have to win out, and they need some help to possibly make the playoffs, maybe. At least at New Year's Six. Well, I don't know how New Year's Six Bowls work this year because all this playoff stuff. I guess we'll be told how that works. 20th is Clemson, coming off a win against Virginia Tech. 21st, South Carolina. Shout out them boys. South Carolina jumps in at 21st. LSU drops to 22nd after getting embarrassed by Alabama at home. 23rd is Mizzou. Mizzou, I guess big win at Oklahoma. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I was high on Mizzou last year. I was high on Mizzou coming into the year, but I don't know. Army 24th, and then Tulane. I believe I had Tulane as my Power 5 representative preseason. They're 25th. So that's your polls. Read these comments real quick. Oh, my bad, Dave. Yeah, y'all are 9th. Yeah, I knew y'all wouldn't drop out the top 10. I think I said y'all be 7th, 8th. 9th is cool. BYU would have lost. Y'all have been like 8th. Come on. Colorado has been on fire. Exactly. Been on fire. And let's talk about Colorado real quick to end the year. So, as I accidentally hit Washington State. Colorado standings. They are currently second in the Big 12 behind BYU. 5-1 in the Big 12. 6-0 BYU obviously undefeated. Colorado plays Utah. That's a tough game right there because Utah has a really good defense, but they can't score. They play Kansas. Kansas, explosive offense. Their strength on defense is Kobe Bryant and Melo Dotson. So that's going to be a fun matchup to watch. And Oklahoma State, who has an elite back. But you force Allen Bowman to beat you, can't do it. That's why they're 3-7. So they got a favorable schedule, I'll say, to end the year. Blurpy says, I need Colorado to lose, so KSU Wildcats. so my KSU Wildcats can get in the Big 12 chip. Hey, bruh, I'm not going to lie. Dave will tell you, I said this all the time. For some reason, Kansas State is a team that I always root for. And it's been like that since Jake Waters, Tyler Lockett. It's been like that since Colin Klein. I don't know what it is about Kansas State. That's one of the teams that I'm not a Kansas State fan at all. But that's the team I look at and I go, man, look, I hope they do well. I like them. Skylar Thompson was my guy a couple years ago. I love Skylar Thompson. Gritty, tough-nosed quarterback. I love Skylar Thompson. I was happy when they won the Big 12 championship 2 years ago. So I feel you on that. Now, me personally, obviously, like I've been saying on the show, I'm a Michigan State guy. Graduated from I'm an MSU alum. And I'm a South Carolina guy. I got accepted into grad school in South Carolina. That's when people ask me, why do you got two teams? I literally got accepted into both schools, bro. So yeah. So I'm an MSU South Carolina guy, so I get it. MSU alum, grew up a South Carolina fan, MSU alum, and I also got accepted in the South Carolina grad school program. So that's why I'm a fan of both. He says no natties. He said, oh, my basket one. My fault. I hate that my two teams are exactly the same with Kansas State and Virginia Tech. No natties. Facts. I mean, well, MSU don't have a no natty problem. But South Carolina, I don't remember South Carolina ever winning the natty. Defensive mindset and elite special teams. Exactly. Coach Frank Beamer. And I'm blanking on Kansas State coach right now, but he's a legendary guy. He's been there the entire time I've been watching Kansas State. And they typically have run first quarterbacks. Facts. Skylar Thompson, Jake Waters, all them guys, bro. I love, like I said, what's the linebacker that played with the Raiders? I'm blanking on the name. I don't know. Bill Snyder. There we go. But yeah, man. I love K-State. But that's enough for poll talk. Let's talk about the Champions Classic real quick. Then I gotta get off and go watch these college football games. Champions Classic was last night, and it was a fun Champions Classic. Again, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about it as I try to find a banner that I made. Here we go. And Blurpy, I don't know if you subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you watching, sticking with me through this entire time. We're 45 minutes in. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Appreciate you being here. Catch more lives. But let's talk about the game last night. Michigan State, man, they put up a stinker from three. Only hit 3 threes, and the last one came at the end of the game when the game was kind of over. Frankie Fiddler hit one late game, but we put up a stinker from three. Really only hit 2. I mean, Kansas put up a stinker too, don't get me wrong, but they hit like 5. Hunter Dickinson, we had no answers for him, like I said earlier. He had like 30 and 15. Jaden Akins, our best player, he absolutely played a terrible game. Trey Holloman came in, had some good moments, but turned the ball over. We just shot terribly from the field. And for some way, I love what I saw out of the young guy, Jace Richardson. He had a really good game, in my opinion. Somehow we were in the game throughout the entirety of the game. Both teams had cold spells, but we were in it. It just felt like every time Kansas hit a 3, it just felt like a big dagger. I remember AJ Story, he hit a big 3 with like 7 minutes left, and it felt like he hit a 3 to put him up 10 with like 2 minutes left. It just felt that's how big that 3 felt. Rylan Griffin hit a couple threes for Kansas. AJ Story got in early foul trouble. He got 2 quick ones, got him out the game, but Kansas, they won the game. They're a pretty good team. They're like they were saying in the broadcast, they're a deep team this year. Last year, not so much. This year, they can go on their bench. But yeah, we definitely started the second half of hot. You're right. He said, "Yeah, I did, bro. Appreciate you." And then he said MSU started the second half off hot, and then with cold. Facts. Then we got Duke, Kentucky. Now, if you're in the chat, I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan of Kentucky. I think I wasn't a fan of Coach Cal because last night I was rooting for Kentucky. I picked Duke, and I said Kentucky will keep it close. Don't be surprised they pull it out. But I found myself rooting for Kentucky, man. Mark Pope, he was coaching his behind off. He got Kentucky scrappy. I haven't seen a Kentucky team this scrappy in a while. They pulled off a win against Duke. Cooper flagged 2 late turnovers to end the game. Exactly. Kentucky is deep with all those transfers. Brandon Garrison from Oklahoma State, Kirk Carissa from West Virginia last year, but Arizona as well. You got Lamont Butler, former Defensive Player of the Year in Mountain West. He came from San Diego State. You got it's so much more. I'm blanking on some names. Otega Owe from Oklahoma. You got oh my God. They had like 9 transfers, so forgive me. It's a lot to remember. But they got so many transfers. Oh, Jackson Robinson, who came over from BYU with Mark Pope. He just got so many transfers coming over, and they fight. Andrew Carr. Can't forget about Andrew Carr from Wake Forest. He just brings over. It's just a scrappy bunch. Duke played well, but they did lose Zion James. I think Zion James was a big hit to that team. Hey, you know something. You know ball. Hey, I was, oh my God, Jordan Caroline and the Martin twins at Nevada. I was a huge fan of that. You know ball. Yeah, man. Kentucky's a really deep team. Duke, they're a young team, but they showed they're not afraid of the moment. Cooper Flag and Napu, the young guy, they play pretty well. Now, I know I'm going to mispronounce the name. I'm so sorry. Napu, he was missing some shots. Man. He was. But like I said, those turnovers really hurt him at the end of the game. But those young guys, they did not shy away from the moment. They didn't at all. And also, what hurt was the freshman, the big. Don't even get me started on how to pronounce that guy name. He was cramping. That was huge as well. That took away from the shot rim protection. Though that guy cramping, that took away from rim protection. But I think both teams are going to be very, very good. Now, Duke got some tests coming up. They got Arizona coming up. They got Auburn coming up, and they got Kansas. They got Kansas coming up. 3 huge tests. Knipple, like I said, bro, I know I'm going to mispronounce it. I am so sorry. I'm going to get a hang of it as the year goes on, Dave. But, yeah, really good game. Kentucky was just able to pull it out late. Dave says, yeah, him being out, yeah, that hurts. Zion James transferred from Tulane. He's a scorer. He's really good on the defensive end as well. Jordan Caroline with the pink shoes. Hey, Jordan Caroline, man, he was the do-it-all guy for Nevada. Hurt us in the end. Facts, it did. And then, like I said, man, I'm pronouncing that. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. Stay tuned. Appreciate y'all riding with me for this 50-minute journey. I'm going to go watch some action. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to watch some action, man. I'll be back. Y'all know, man, Friday, Saturday morning. I can tell y'all right now, I only got 6 games to preview for the weekend. I was trying to find more. Really, I only found 6 games that I felt worth talking about. So we'll talk about those. Dog of the week will be Friday. Last week's dog of the week hit. I took Duke over NC State. Duke won by 10. So dog of the week hit last week. There will be another one Friday. But y'all enjoy y'all night, man. Enjoy this action. Enjoy this NBA. Enjoy this college basketball. Appreciate you, Dave. Oh, no. I see your comment, Dave, and it's nothing to you. I got to work. So I can't do one of those Saturday morning shows. I got to go to work, brother. If I was off, definitely would love to have you on. But I got to go to work. So it got to be, if I do a Saturday morning, got to be like quick. But appreciate the great show. Appreciate you wanting to join. But it got to be, I'm sorry. It's not one of them. And then I appreciate you for watching as well, bro. But y'all enjoy y'all Wednesday night, I'm gone.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.